Lost Art with Andrew Cox, retired Master Gunnery Sergeant. thelostart.podbean.com. Get some merchandise and help support the podcast in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Now on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be a guest, tell your veteran story, discuss your veteran business or organization. Email The Lost Art with Andrew Cox at gmail.com. Andrew Cox, a Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. See the project story at tillvalhallaproject.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please enjoy the podcast that's giving a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Today's episode is brought to you by TrumpShirt.com. TrumpShirt.com is a veteran-owned business where 100% of the proceeds goes to disabled veterans and veteran organizations. Support your veterans by purchasing a shirt at TrumpShirt.com. Use the promo code TLA and get free shipping. That's TrumpShirt.com, promo code TLA.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we'll be having a fireside chat with a crew. But we're going to get before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Then be sure to go to thelostart.podbean.com. Go check it out, see what we're all about. Also, you can click on that merchandise tab. You can go in there, get you a cool hat, get you a cool mug. I'll show you this mug real quick. It's pretty cool, man. Check that out right there. Fireside chat, my veteran story, and it's got my ugly mug on there. Anyway, you can go get you some cool stuff. Help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project and allowing me to be an ambassador for that great organization. They are doing some fantastic things. Go visit their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Go see what they're all about. And if you can help them out, please do so. All right, with that, I got the crew here. We'll go ahead and go round robin. Mark, how you doing?
Hello, Andrew, Victor, and Aaron. I'm doing in the podcast observers out there. I'm doing good, but down here in San Diego County, San Diego, I'm in East County, San Diego, and it's 101 degrees still today. 108 earlier today. It's been the last few days in 100 degrees. Supposed to be tomorrow, I think, is the last day of three-digit temperatures. So that just adds to the aggravation of California.
I think they got mad at you and they were like, you know what? We'll just make it really hot. Maybe he'll stop then. I don't know.
Cutting off his internet's not working.
Yeah. Gotta love it. 108.
Other than that, like I said, it's a beautiful state except for the politicians, taxes, the prices.
Yeah, absolutely. It is beautiful.
And half of the country's homeless.
There's quite a few down there, but what a gorgeous place to be homeless.
Half of America's homeless population live in California.
No kidding.
Yep.
I didn't realize that. But I mean, It does make sense. It's a beautiful place. I don't understand why people that are homeless want to stay in the north where it gets stupid cold. Go south, or at least go south for the winter. Hitchhike, walk, something. I don't know. I guess they're homeless, so they can't really get around too good, but that's all good.
They're going to
Aaron, how are you doing? Oh, yeah. I got plenty of room. How you doing, Aaron?
Well,
he's ignoring me. No, he's ignoring me because Arkansas lost to Oklahoma State, so he's ignoring me right now.
I was going to say I wish I could say I was doing better, but being an Arkansas fan, this is what it is. I mean, you call it party Cowboys, but the Hogs will literally give you a freaking heart attack. Greatest team in the nation for the first half of the game. I would say probably they started halfway through the second quarter, but I mean, best team in the country first half. Worst team in the country. So, there is no medium. If there was a happy, we would have easily won that game. So,
Oh yeah.
Hats off to your Cowboys. Maybe we will meet again in the postseason, but I don't know if Arkansas will make it there. So
I don't think we will either.
Oklahoma is the oldest and most mature veteran college team in the nation. I guess their average age for their linemen is like 24 years old. They're all like 5 and 6 years seniors. They're
Really?
senior. Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
They showed it. They
I didn't know that.
in the game, and then when the opportunity arose, because Arkansas was going to give it to them, they took advantage of it. But other than that, all is well. It's not as hot in California, but it is still warm. It's not as hot as the Devil's Taint, but prices
That's
prices are cheap.
yeah, prices are cheap. Yeah. Very nice. Well, I have to say, for everybody watching, I gave up in the second quarter because I'm like, yeah, this is not going anywhere good for this game. And I went up, walked out to the lake. I went fishing in the lake. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go down to the river. I went down to the river, was fishing. Next thing I know, I'm getting texts and be like, oh man, it's tied up. And I'm like, what? We were doing so bad at the beginning. So we pulled it out though. So, you know,
Yeah.
I wish I could say something better, but all
Well,
right.
I mean, that's what you expect out of a veteran team. So
Yeah. I did say that they do much better in the second half. They also do much better when I don't watch them. So maybe that's the key is I don't watch and I just see the highlights later.
yeah.
Oh, you just barely pulled it out, Vic. Isn't that right?
Here, the chinny chin chin.
Yeah.
2 points against Houston, University of Houston, unranked. But all right, whatever. Hope everybody's doing all right. Week has been it's been a good week, busy week. Lots of things happening at school, at the school board, and all that kind of stuff, keeping me busy somehow. I decided to join a community band too, so just
You weren't busy enough.
yeah, because well, yeah, all the copious amounts of free time that I have, so yeah, just couldn't live with myself, It's just too much idle
Yeah.
time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Makes
But
sense.
yeah, so let's see. This week's cigar is a Viaje. The Viaje called a private bale. Bale as in like a bale of hay, but it's a bale of tobacco. Private bale. It's selected from aged tobacco. Only the oldest tobacco is what they say. Some of it as old as 8 years old. And then when it's rolled, they let it rest for 9 months. Let's see here. Uses this is on their website. The blend uses an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, 2 Nicaraguan Corojo binders, and then filler contains tobacco from Nicaragua's Esteli and Jalapa regions. Is it Jalapa? I don't know. The company describes the fillers as being aged, but not specifically what their specific age is. And then it's produced by one of the largest factories in cigar, Aganorsa. But yeah, it's a limited edition, which is weird because it was only about $12 a stick. Usually limited editions are in north of $20 a stick. So we'll see. I'm excited to smoke this one.
I got a quick question for you, and hopefully you know the answer to this, but in the South, they grow a lot of tobacco down there. Where does the tobacco go? Is that all going to cigarettes, or do they use that for that is cigarettes, huh?
Yep.
No kidding.
All cigarette tobacco. I mean, there might be some small mom and pop, tobacco growers that are making like small, no name pipes out of it, or pipe tobacco or cigar tobacco. But the vast majority of it is all cigarette tobacco.
No kidding.
Yep.
Go figure that we'd be going for the cigarette tobacco here. I mean, it's big bucks in it,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you can keep away from getting sued because your product causes cancer and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. We're all right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it and see what's going on around. Let's go ahead and jump into veteran news with Mark.
Okay, I found well, actually, I didn't find it. I was kind of struggling finding a really good program to promote, and my wife came out. She works for Semper Fi and America's Fund, so these are one of the resources that they use. But she introduced me to this organization called Operation Finally Home, and Operation Finally Home provides mortgage-free homes or home renovation, home modifications to veterans, first responders, and
Wow.
also what is unique about this one, uh, the widows or the widows or widowers of a veteran can apply for these programs.
Wow.
And, so of like I said, of the veteran or the first responder, and they do like I said, they do home modification. Um, they there is um, guidelines that they got to go by. Veteran has to be honorable or general under honorable conditions discharge to be picked up by this program. And one good thing about this, they do a lot of vetting because they want to make sure that that the veteran or the first responder or the widowed or widower of the veteran or first responder has showed maturity and financial discipline when handling homes. Unfortunately, with some of these programs that we've seen, young veterans are, especially when you're getting a lot of catastrophic injuries right away during the war in the early 2000s. These organizations were doing the right thing. They would put a young veteran and his family in a home, but then after a few years, the veteran would still sometimes end up in some financial hardships because they didn't know how to handle money. And so, but this one, this Operation Finally Home, that's one of the criteria is that the veteran, the first responder, or the surviving spouse has to have shown some financial discipline and handling of their funds, because they're not going to go in if you're late on property taxes, if you're behind in the mortgage or anything like that, homeowners fees, things, everything like that. So it's a great program. It's in 32 or 33. I think they're just going into the 33rd state here in the United States. They operate in. They're out of Texas. It was started in Texas. I'll tell you, Texas is there's a lot of these organizations that have started in Texas. It's pretty amazing. So this is definitely one you want to go take a look at. Operation Finally Home.
Okay. And then that is you specifically for somebody that owns a home already that is looking to like build on or do something different with the home.
That's one of the things they do. They do modifications and renovations and things like that. But they will sometimes they'll take care of the mortgage if it's already, they can take care of a mortgage.
Nice.
All sorts of different programs that they have within it. It all depends on the veteran that's applying for the program or its first responder.
Right.
One that I really thought was unique was the surviving spouse is can go straight up in there and apply also. But sometimes, especially after with first responders and veterans, after a few years, the spouse, that veteran or first responder passes away, and then the spouse is left to handle things on their own. So this one has the guidelines that the surviving spouse is able to apply for the program even after the spouse is deceased.
Wow, that's really cool, man. they've got some great programs out there. I'm glad you're highlighting them all too as we go through this. But man, there's some incredible programs out there.
There are.
Yeah, very nice. You got anything else, Mark?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. All right. Well, we're gonna jump over and go into military news with Vic.
Mark, you said doo-doo. Anyways. I couldn't help it. He said doo-doo, and I looked around, and Aaron was already laughing. All right. So apparently they do that. So
yep, lots of doo-doo. Yep. Yeah.
So I was looking at some different websites and found a cool one that kind of broke out some things by service. So when I started looking through it, there was some cool stuff by service. So I figured I'd give the wave tops on some.
Okay.
Army soldiers set to get one shoulder fired round to replace multiple weapons for the ease of loads and training. Imagine that. The service awarded a $494 million contract to Swedish defense contractor Saab in late August to furnish soldiers with the XM919 individual assault munition, a single-shot, multi-mission round that is designed to combine the capabilities of the M72 light armor weapon, the M136 AT4, and the M141 bunker defeat munition, all into a single weapon system. So,
wow.
Yeah, good for them. Something tells me that the Marine Corps should probably pick up on that one soon.
Hey, Vic,
yes, sir.
Quick question for Mark. Really, do you know J.C. Knight, Gunner Knight? He works for Saab. So Vic, they may have already worked something for the Marine
Corps. Oh wow!
Or
imagine that.
Yeah, good. He works on that program. Yep.
Interesting.
Let's see. Navy amphibious ship suffers breakdown, making it at least the third Navy mechanical issue this year. So all of their platforms are starting to age, and the Navy is struggling to keep them afloat, literally. Let's see. One of the Navy's amphibious warships suffered a major mechanical failure earlier this week that forced it to return to port, at least the third such incident this year. And we're just over halfway through the year. So Lieutenant Commander David Carter, a spokesman, confirmed that the USS Iwo Jima suffered a non-propulsion related material casualty in the engineering department that forced the ship to return to Naval Station of Norfolk. What I thought was funny about it was, what did it say? A ship watcher who goes by the name of Air Assets Online. There's creepers out there that just watch Navy ships, apparently. A ship watcher who goes by the name Air Assets Online first spotted the problem when they noticed using tracking websites several tugs sailing out into the open waters off of Virginia Beach to meet the ship. Several hours later, the Iwo Jima was spotted coming back into Norfolk. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hold on, but what was the guy's handle? What was it?
Air Assets.
So
one word.
Air Assets, but he's tracking the Navy ships. That's crazy. Yeah. All right.
Must be a Democrat.
Jeez.
Speaking of, in other Navy news, Navy Secretary breaks law with political statement about political race. Let's see. The Navy Secretary Carlos Del Toro broke the law by publicly endorsing the re-election of President Biden and criticizing former President Trump in several statements he made while in official duties overseas.
Ooh.
Yeah. According to the Hatch Act, you're not allowed to do that. In a report to the White House, the watchdog agency told Del Toro's comments about the presidential election came up in a BBC interview when he was responding to a question after a speech in London. While he later reported the remarks, his unwillingness to take responsibility for them is troubling, said the special counsel. Yeah. Also a Democrat. Let's see. Oh, this was a good one. I like this. White House says no need to panic over aerial objects shot down. Apparently, this past week, this was only a video story, so I've watched a little bit of it. So there's not a text to it, but basically, 3 objects were reported in airspace low enough to interfere with civilian aircraft. So they launched military aircraft to shoot them down, and that's as much as they're saying.
Is it a UFO?
I don't know. They're just saying
it is. It's unidentified right now.
Apparently, it is. Yeah, but it's no need to worry. No need to panic. It's everything's okay.
Just, I like the wave of the hand that you got going on. Is the Jedi okay. Mind trick?
Yeah. Jedi, these aren't the droids you're looking for. You know. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys seen any of it in the news that we shot down 3 more objects that we don't know what we're talking about? Yeah, can we sweep that one under the rug real quick before anybody notices? Wow. In Air Force news, Pentagon debuts a new stealth bomber, first tactical strategic bomber in 30 years, the B-21 Raider.
It's a fairly large aircraft, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's one of those uniwing aircrafts. Yep. 2 Marines attacked by members of anti-American group during a port call to Turkey. Don't know if Aaron was going to get into that one with current news. So I'll leave that for him. Oddly enough, Turkish authorities came to the rescue rather quickly. And then for Space Force, can't forget Space Force. So astronauts stuck on the space station will be brought back home by a Space Force Guardian. So SpaceX is providing the ship, but the crew is being commanded by a Space Force Guardian.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Good for the Space Force. That's awesome.
Yeah. Pew pew pew. Yep, Space Force.
They're doing that Space Force thing. Man, if I could have jumped in the Space Force, I'd have done it. Man, that's so cool. What were you saying, Aaron?
Oh, I was just I'm not covering that. I'm covering a follow-up from Thursday, but
well, then I'll go a little bit more into detail. 2 off-duty Marines assigned to the 21st Marine Expeditionary Unit were assaulted by a group of men on a busy street in Turkey over the weekend, according to a video of the incident posted on social media, because there's always people vote video and fights instead of helping, right? The Marines were on regularly scheduled port visit to Izmir, Turkey. Izmir, does that sound about right? On Sunday, when a group reported to the Turkish Youth Union, according to the Associated Press, attacked the service members, forcing a bag over one of their heads. Shit almost went south quick. Turkish authorities arrested 15 people allegedly involved in the assault. U.S. Embassy in Turkey said that the Marines are now safe and thanked the Turkish authorities for their rapid response and investigation into the post, or in a post on X. Apparently, local Izmir police and NCIS are cooperating in an investigation of the incident.
So, Krista,
holy cow!
If it's the same video, it sent that to me, but it said it was a sailor, not Marines. So I guess it was Marines.
Yeah. The 2 Marines were aided by other Marines, in the area, and were subsequently taken to a local hospital for evaluation as precaution, but were not injured and have returned to the USS Wasp.
Yeah, the one clip I saw, there was one Marine who jumped right into that fray. So that's the only clip I saw of it.
Throwing elbows. Fuck yeah, as it should be.
Wow.
And that's all I got. I yield the rest of my time.
All right, very well. Thank you, Vic. We'll jump over real quick and just ask how Mike's doing. He jumped on a little bit late. He had something going on. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good. What's that, Aaron?
I said he's always singling you out, Mike.
I know. It is what it is.
Hey,
I got to watch the Steelers win today. But nothing but field goals to win it, but hey, they won.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
And isn't it, Andrew?
That's right. Yay. You take advantage of every little thing somebody gives you. You just go for it, you know. That's good. It's good. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into current news with Aaron.
All right. So follow up from Thursday about this shooter in school shooter in Georgia.
Yeah.
Interviewed some family members. I guess there was the mother had sent or had contacted the school to warn them that I guess she had found a message or had a message from her son, I guess apologizing or something, and she was worried about his mental health. So I guess try to contact the school and warn them in advance. I guess that was about 9:50 in the morning, and then the shooting apparently started 30 minutes later at 10:20. So they couldn't look at him. He had left one of the teacher's classes, and they thought he was skipping out. So everybody was looking for him. That being said, they interviewed his grandfather, his maternal grandfather, so his mom's dad, and he said the father should get the death penalty.
Whoa.
His exact words. Well, basically, he was saying the former son-in-law, Colin Gray, should bear much of the blame for last week's bloodbath at Appalachia High School that left 2 teens and 2 teachers dead. His quote was, "Spending 11 years with that son of a bitch screaming and hollering every day, it can affect anybody."
You had said that before in the last podcast that there was something else like the dad abusing or something of that nature, and that just kind of highlights, that there was something else.
Yeah, he said that of his ex-son-in-law. He said he's pure evil, and they didn't survive in it. Obviously, why his mom and dad divorced. He said Colt has to pay for what he did, but I'm telling you, he was driven, no question in my mind. He was driven by his father to do what he did. That's as plain as I can put it, and I know I'm right.
Wow. That's pretty straight in your face with that,
Yeah, apparently his father did give him access to the rifle.
Apparently. Well, if that's the case, then yeah. I mean, he's just as guilty as his son.
He bought the damn rifle for him.
No, I'm talking about like after. Remember, it covered that there was an incident where they said, "Hey, keep him away," and then he tried to say he kept him away from him, but
then he admitted that he had bought the damn rifle for him last year for Christmas.
Right, but apparently he had like what they're saying. I mean, all this is allegations. Is that he basically gave him access to him and said, pretty much didn't stop him from doing what he was doing or gonna go do.
Wow, that's wild, man.
They interviewed I believe it was the aunt. Let's see if I can find it. No, I'm sorry, a neighbor. Former neighbor told the New York Post last week there were nights where the mom would lock him and his sisters out of the house, and they would be banging on the back door, just screaming like "Mom, Mom, Mom" and crying. It was devastating. See, so let me pause there. Like if that's happening at my neighbor's house, like I'm going out. I'm going out there to the door. We're doing something about this. And I'm not just going to sit there and listen to it.
It's a true statement.
Man.
Well, at least call the authorities. Let them know, hey.
Yeah. If you're afraid to go out there, at least call the authorities. Hey, there's something going on over here. I need somebody.
I don't know, a welfare check or something. We don't know. I mean.
Right.
Hey, Aaron, did you say it was like a stepmom that was doing that, or was it the actual mom? Does it say?
That was that's what the neighbor said of the mom, but the grandfather said that she always tried to help them, and she is a good person and a mom. And she said, but I'm back to what I said about narcissists. They can change anybody.
Wow.
Now, so she had Marcy Gray, the mother, has a lengthy rap sheet full of drug and domestic violence arrests.
Really?
I missed that part in there.
Wow. Well, there you go. It's unfortunate that children have to be caught up in stuff like that. Because that does affect you. I don't care who you are. It really does affect how a child, sees the world, if you will, right?
I would even go as far as saying, not to get in too depth of my background here, but I lived in a very, I wouldn't say exactly similar situation, but my stepdad was an asshole like that all the time. Like if you want to eat, you're going to go work and pay for it. As a kid that wasn't even 16 years old, wasn't even old enough to hold a job.
Yeah.
But go find money to pay for it. Anyway, all that to be said, it does affect you. Even if it doesn't affect you like this, it affects you later down the road in other ways. Where, like me, I hate going out in public places and people because of how I had to deal with him growing up. I lose my crap every time.
Yeah.
I just avoid it at all costs. But that being said, absolutely. Like you mentally freaking abuse this child and his sisters. Who knows what kind of stuff his sisters are going through.
Yeah, true.
Mentally abuse them. Probably physically abuse them too. We haven't did that yet, but probably. Then you give him access to firearms when you've already had incidences that reported to law enforcement. What do you think is going to happen? So absolutely, I hope they charge him. I mean, they have charged him, but I hope they convict him.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. What goes through people's minds is, I don't know. It's just hard to fathom for me. I can't see it. Like I can't even imagine doing that to my kids, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, I don't. How do you do that to another person?
Yeah.
Tell you why my stepfather did it is because it was done to him.
So
it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
It was learned behavior. Definitely learned behavior.
Absolutely. It was done to brothers too, but his brothers didn't end up that bad. So obviously, it's not going to affect everybody the same way. We're all different, right? But
True. Wow.
But like I said,
now my wife was saying that she heard, and I don't know how true this is. I haven't seen it, but she heard that the individual was trans and had written a note about that.
I've seen some of that stuff. It's too hard to believe what right. Like you want to trust your news outlets to an extent. Yeah, exactly, Vic. But then when you see just random stuff popping up out there, because I've seen it too. Like I mentioned about the Tim Waltz video, is like it's a random video. Obviously, that left-leaning media is not going to talk about it. The right is kind of skeptic on where it came from, so it's like, and I know what you're talking about with this kid. Apparently, I seen the picture too. He's wearing a shirt, brand saying something about Kamala or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, we'll probably know more about this kid than the Trump shooter.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
I mean, they I think cremated and buried that Trump shooter so fast that we'll never know any more about it.
Man, they were washing the roof off the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy standing there washing the roof off, it was so.
And we know, well.
It was so steep.
Yeah. It's so steep they couldn't do anything else, but it was,
They couldn't secure it.
I mean, it was steep. The guy that was washing it, I mean, you saw him. He was struggling to wash everything.
Y'all seen the photos just like me of cows standing on steeper roofs. So
he said cows standing on steeper roof. Oh man.
It's just, again, like I said last week, there was way more to it it's all hurting the surface. Like Mark said, we're going to know more about this kid than we have previous shooting instances. So,
But
Now,
then
do you know
also
how?
maybe not if you were saying he was coming out as trans, they'll probably try to cover that up too, because it doesn't fit their
Yeah,
narrative as a psychopath right wing white kid.
yeah. Do you know how fast that? Because you said it was one of the officers at the school that responded to it, right?
um,
Yeah, an armed schools officer.
yeah, it was a resource officer. Now the message that the mother, well, I guess I have to go back. I think that was a different article where I read that the mother had called the counselor because they
Yeah.
had conversation with the school because of his previous.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she had called the counselor and said, he sent me a message saying he's sorry and I can't get a hold of him. I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
That's when they started.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Well, you got anything else, Aaron?
Um, yeah, actually I do.
Okay, hit us up.
DirecTV has filed a complaint against Disney with FCC as impasse enters a second week. And the reason I'm mad about this is because I cannot watch ESPN because I have DirecTV stream. So I had to have my ESPN account logged into, or ESPN Plus account. Let me rephrase that. So DirecTV and Disney are going back and forth over ESPN. I forget what they call it. I guess their contract expired and they can't come to on all their stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody else is having issues with it out there.
All at my 24-hour fitness, there's a lot of screens that are empty because it says that DirecTV and AT&T can't get along.
Wow.
What do you use on the road there, Pops with Crops?
I don't watch much of anything. We have like a little it's not a satellite, but it's a local antenna type of thing. So I'll just go through. So I get some of the local channels or what have you. But I don't really watch anything, to be honest with you. And it was just so happened that the Oklahoma State Arkansas game was actually on one of the channels here in Nebraska. So I was like, okay, bonus. I got to watch it.
Televised, I believe, on ABC or CBS, nationally televised.
That's why it was here. Yeah. But I don't typically watch a bunch of TV or anything, to be honest with you. If I watch anything, I'm watching like Netflix and watching stupid shows that I've watched 100 times. Or either watching like the Lone Survivor, or what is it called? I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there, where they're out in the wilderness and they're trying to survive, those types of things. Or crime. I like to watch the crime drama type stuff, not the TV shows, but the actual crimes that have taken place and documentaries about it and stuff like that. I like watching that. That's about it.
Andrew tries to relive it every day with Naked and Afraid out there running around the RV park.
My neighbors love it.
Yeah.
My neighbors love it. They can't quite figure out why I'm out there at the lake fishing naked. They don't understand. But
Oh, here it is. Sorry. The states, along with these anti-competitive demands, Disney has also insisted that DirecTV agree to a clean slate provision in a covenant not to sue, both of which are intended to prevent DirecTV from taking legal action regarding Disney's anti-competitive demands, which would include filing good faith complaints at the commission. Not 3 months ago, however, the Media Bureau made clear that such a demand itself constitutes bad faith. So,
interesting.
Goes back to that not being able to sue Disney.
They're their own thing. Can't mess with Disney. They own everything. Everything. Isn't that right, Vic? He's like, I don't know.
Well, what I'm we as a family are dialing back our interaction with Disney because of all this crap going on. They have become, and for years now, too big to fail. DeSantis has taken them on a little bit and basically removed their independent status. I don't know if you guys knew they used to be like their own city. And they were exempt from state taxes and all kinds of stuff because they brought in so much revenue. And DeSantis said, "You're done. You want to get into politics? Fine, you're done." But like their woke stance on everything. Their last 8 films, Inside Out 2 was a good film for them. But the previous 8 films were all dud. They all crashed. They lost money on 8 previous films, so now they're having to make up money in every way they can because they've lost millions and millions and millions of dollars through their woke agenda through their films. It's just now they're nickel and diming everybody and everything, and they're trying to grasp for every little straw they can hold on to now, to include all this DirecTV stuff and everything. So it's like I was alluded to earlier, they become too big to fail. So what happens when the court of public opinion starts to pass judgment and people stop going? And Disney is like I think if they stay on the same trajectory in the next 2 to 3 years, they're going to run out of money. I mean, they're hemorrhaging money right now, just trying to stay afloat. And now 70% of their income is coming through the parks. So they're nickel and diming everybody through the parks now. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's bad. Like when we went there,
get any of my money.
Yeah. When we went there a couple of months ago, they rate their census for park attendance, daily park attendance, from 1 to 10. When we went in the summer, it was a 4. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, they are handing out all kinds of deals, trying to get people to come to the parks. Yeah, it's getting bad, and they earned it. They've made their bed, and it's time to lie in it,
What was the last movie you said that came out that they did good on? What was it?
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a great movie. Have you guys watched any of those, Inside Out 1 or 2?
I've seen the first one, but I haven't seen the second one yet.
I only, I've watched it because of my kids, but man, that's such a great movie, and it is spot on. Man, my kids are 100% just like that, and going into their teenage years, and oh my God, I'm like, it's ridiculous. She's got little people in her head telling her all kinds of crazy things to do. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good movies. Those are.
Yeah. Anyways, anything else, Aaron?
No, I'll leave it at that. All
right.
Yeah, well, one final word for the podcast here. Tune in 2 days to watch between the anointed one and the elected Donald Trump.
All right. It should be a good show. So we can talk about that on Thursday, I would imagine. Yeah.
Can I throw in a public service announcement?
Sure.
Since we're talking about all this woke and all the things like that. So a public service announcement is until we find a cure for liberalism, have your liberals spayed and neutered.
Oh, God. Very nice. I like it. God. I leave it to Mark to just, come out swinging like it's cool,
That was his words of wisdom. I mean, what are you talking about?
I'm trying to do something good for the country and the world.
You need to start a commercial for that. In the arms of America.
I would argue that is the single thing that you could do to save the world.
Yeah. Very interesting. All right. Well, you guys ready for some good news? I think it is time for some good news with Mike.
I had an article here,
Uh,
and I think I lost it at some point. But I did find another one when I first got on. I was looking real quick. I don't know if that's necessarily great. Well, it's good news, but
We're
hold
not
on
asking
one.
for great. We're just asking for good.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Yeah. His wife is back there yelling
No,
at him.
no. There's no wife. It's called a son. Calm down. All right,
Yes,
my
sir.
good news I have
Yes,
for
sir.
today. It was discovered that using a simple, cheap food dye can in the arms.
What was that? What was that? Did you just pull that?
Let's hear it again.
Wow.
Oh, you want me to play it? All right. Let it go.
Go ahead, Mark. Do the speech for only 5 cents a day. Your caring heart can save America.
Now we need is the interpretive dance. Mike, hit us up.
I don't know about that. I actually can see you doing it in the overalls and all that, but the interpretive dance while you're out there lonely, naked and afraid, or whatever it is out there.
Hey, you guys need to come travel with me. It's a good time. It's a good time.
All right. So my good news story, they discovered that a simple cheap food dye makes skin transparent and gives doctors a window into body tissue.
What?
Yes. It says a revolutionary new technique uses food dye to provide a window into the body, making skin transparent. By applying a mixture of water and a common yellow food coloring called tartrazine, researchers made the skin on the skulls and abdomens of live mice see-through.
Wow. Like, is it an ointment that you rub on type of deal? Like, what is it?
Well, they have to use the food dye, and then I don't know if it's like a saline solution or what, but it's just applied to the surface of the skin. And after a period of time, the whole article, the way it reads, there's a lot more to it. But so the groundbreaking technique described in the Journal of Science gives medics a way to see organs within a body by rendering overlying tissues transparent to visible light. Now, this dye, also known as yellow dye number 5, the technique needs to be tested on humans, as certain food dyes in humans have been found to have adverse effects.
Isn't that the yellow dye number 5? Isn't that like in Mountain Dew and everybody talks about that?
Yeah,
I think
it's 5, and then I think there's like something number 7, I think is a blue. It says the process is reversible in a test with animals. The scientists say it may ultimately apply to several medical uses, from locating injuries to monitoring digestive disorders and identifying certain cancers. It says, looking forward, this technology can cause veins more visible for drawing blood, making laser-based tattoo removal more straightforward, or assist in the early detection and treatment of cancers. And it says where'd it go? And it all has to do with how light passes through things. It says researchers developed a way to predict how light interacts with dyed biological tissues. The predictions required a deep understanding of light scattering, as well as the process of refraction when light changes speeds and bends as it travels from one material into another. And then it's quite intensive. It says it doesn't make sense unless you understand refraction and all that. But it says the team explained that scattering is the reason we cannot see through our body, such as fats, fluids, or within cells and proteins and other materials. Each have a different refractive index, a property that dictates how significantly an incoming light wave will bend. So the researchers realized that they wanted to make biological materials transparent. They had to find a way to match the different refractive indices so light could travel through one to the other unimpeded. So there's a lot of smart people, obviously, all got, it's like, hey, did you ever think of this? It's like Sheldon on, what the heck's it? My mind just went blank. Young Sheldon.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of the show, but yeah, Sheldon, yeah. The real smart dude.
Yeah. They said when they tested the technique on other things other things other than animals was chicken breast into slices. As the tartrazine concentrations increased on the surface of the chicken breast, the refractive index of the fluid within the muscle cells rose until it matched the refractive index of the muscle proteins, and a slice at that point became completely transparent.
That's crazy.
So the researchers then gently rubbed a temporary the solution on the mice, and that's when they discovered that they could actually see veins and actual stomach organs and stomach contractions within, intestine contractions within the mouse itself.
Is it like a temporary type of deal?
That's what it says. It says once the dye is rinsed off, the tissues quickly return to normal. Said the dye did not appear to have any long-term effects and was excreted, and any excess waste that may have been absorbed was excreted and documented within 48 hours of application.
That's really cool.
Whether it's good or not, I mean, it would, I guess it's like anything in modern medicine. Sometimes the benefits outweigh the negatives, but, it's another one of those things. I'm sure it's far from being put into use, but the concept, I think, is one thing they're really looking at is, okay, we could do it with this. What could we do it with? It would technically be safer at that point. I just think it'd be weird if they're sticking it on your arm and all of a sudden you can see blood vessels in your arm or, on your chest or your stomach and things like that.
I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times, especially going to Navy medicine, sometimes you go in to get your blood draw and they miss and they miss again and then they try again because they're testing out the new guys. Just think if they could see that blood, the vessel there, man, they could get it every time just like this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the thing they were saying, that, in certain tests and that where ultrasound technology is used to look deeper in the body, it said, unfortunately, there are people in this country and the world that do not have access to that technology, or they can't afford that technology at that point. And they're saying with this that it would be a relatively cheaper alternative, and it would give a more in-depth look of what's actually going on without having to have invasive surgeries and things like that.
Yeah.
They said the only thing they see that right now, until they can get authorization to test it on humans, is that the human skin is 10 times thicker than a mouse's skin. So it will require a more concentrated solution for deeper penetration at that point.
Well, the Navy's out of the question because they'll want to test it on leather.
Exactly, yeah.
Skin's too tough.
Well, they'd have to wait till the next war, which may be sooner than later at that point. And it's like, well, let's try it. Now we can do it.
The other thing I was going to say, Andrew, to respond to your comment, they miss as many times. Have you seen the Navy shoot?
No.
They can see.
Have you?
They can't hit it, but they can see it.
They can see it. I don't know.
They can see my veins. Like, you can't as much anymore because I'm a lot fatter than what I was, but used to when I was a lot skinnier, you could see my veins. Like, you could see it, and they would still miss it.
Oh man!
But I like the idea though. I like it. You could also
passed out 2 times in the Marine Corps. Actually 2 times in my life. The first time was during a gig in front of the band, standing at parade rest, listening to somebody talk about how important they are on a flight line when it was 105 degrees outside. And the second time was when somebody was digging around in my arm for like 10 minutes trying to find a vein, and I passed out.
Nice.
Yep. Came to with
I
smelling
was gonna say
salts.
the
I
other
was
reason
swinging
you could
arms.
use-
There was 6 people holding me down when they brought me back with the smelling salts. And I even told the girls, like, hey,
Now,
my
when you
face
went,
is starting to
did
get kind
you-
of fuzzy. And she, good.
Oh, I was gonna ask you
Go
when
ahead.
you
What?
passed out in the ceremony. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah.
When you passed out in the ceremony, did you like fall all the way down type of deal or what?
Oh, yeah. All the way to the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, actually, I think I fell down to my knees. I like fell down my knees, and then Wirtz, Hugh Wirtz and Navarro, Andres Navarro came up, got me up underneath the arms, and drug me back, and then had the corpsman trick me into getting into the ambulance. And then he stood in the doorway with his arms in the doorway, and he's like, "All right, I got some bad news. Now that I got you in the ambulance, because you're in my ambulance, I have to take you to the hospital." And I was like, bullshit. And he's like, oh, come on, Gunny, don't do this to me. Oh, I'm like, oh.
The whole time they're dragging him
Oh,
off the
that's
field
good
with his
times.
feet dragging in the grass. He's like, I'm fine, coach. Put me back in. I'm good. Just put me in.
I've been there.
Yeah.
One time I passed out. My first, I guess it was my first year out in the fleet, 29 Palm, standing on that parade deck, that's angled like this. Locked my knees. That was it. Boom, done. Right over. It was a good time. The only time though.
I almost passed out at Edwards Air Force Base. Remember that? We were doing a gig that was in the hangar, and only the drums and the tubas were standing out in the sun because they had the band, like the hangar doors open, and the band was like sticking out the side of the hangar, and only the drums and the tubas were standing in the sun. Like, you sons of bitches. Oh, Gunny.
Hey, Mark, you were on the depot when this happened, if I'm not mistaken. When I think it was a CG change of command. So you had all of RTR, then you had all the recruiting command that was out there, and there was one of the sergeants majors, and I don't remember who it was.
One of the district sergeant majors.
Yeah, passed out and
Yeah.
face planted. Pow!
Oh, yeah.
Like you saw his face bounce off the ground. It was insane.
But you remember we had a first sergeant in 2nd Battalion that happened to him a couple times also.
Really?
Remember him or not?
Huh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Them dang news first sergeants.
Yeah, I know.
Make 'em like
Man.
it, huh?
I remember after that though, I was over at headquarters battalion, the company first sergeant at the time I was over there. He was a sniper by trade. So I was in his office and he's like, did you see the guy pass out? And I'm like, yeah, I saw the guy pass out. And he's like, you know what it reminded me of? And I'm like, no. And he goes, it reminded me of like looking at my scope, pulling the trigger, and then watching the guy just fall over. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you're messed up. And he goes, yeah, I know. That's why I go to therapy. I was like, man, okay, good point. Good point.
Everybody
Yeah,
notice how Mark didn't share a pass out story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mark never
happened to
passed.
me. I was
Mark's the hard dog.
well. We had we're hammered in our heads about not locking our knees all the
Yeah.
time. It was,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily a fair comparison either, because I mean, I counted, like when I went to retire, I went back through all my fitness reports and counted all the ceremonies that I stood in, and it was over 3,000.
wow.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. So like,
Oh,
Andrew, you probably got more than me. I don't know, but like, I don't care how many. When you make it sergeant major, I don't care how many ceremonies you've been in. That's never will be as many as a bandsman. Never.
3,000.
Never.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna
3,000
say
ceremonies.
practice makes perfect, right? So
You stand in 3,000 ceremonies, you're eventually, statistically, you're going to fall out at least once. I guarantee it, or twice.
Hey, that's not a bad statistic though. 1 out of
I
3,000.
I
That's pretty
agree.
good, man. Yeah.
You
But
know,
it's that
I
one.
mean,
It's that one that'll never. You'll never hear the end of it for.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's that one.
you
Oh, you
fuck
remember that
one
time
Yeah.
goat.
they drug Gunny Nay
Yep.
off the field?
Build a million bridges.
You fuck one goat, and for the rest of your life, you're a goat fucker.
hey, at eighth and I, we were told don't tap out. Don't tap out.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to
no.
fall out.
You have to fall out.
That's
Yep.
right. Yep.
not
There's
tap
two. I used to say there's two ways out of my formation. The first one is I give the command fall out. The second one is you fall out onto the ground. So two ways out of my formation.
Boy, I'm
I
glad.
don't,
Mark,
I
you-
don't.
I'm glad you didn't hold that standard at the schoolhouse.
Hey, Mark, do you remember the day that I got promoted to gunny? You were there.
Have to refresh my memory on that one.
So it was graduation day for Fox Company. And I was telling Charlie, the commander troops gives right face. We face, and one of my recruits or Marines passes out at the front. So I like power walk up to him. I stand over him and I slap the shit out of him. And he doesn't move. And so I slap the shit out of him again. And he comes up and I was like, stand up and then get out of the formation or whatever. So after, right? And this was the day I was supposed to get promoted to gunny. Afterwards, I see the drill master. I wish I could remember who it was. It might have been Nahara at the time. And he's like, did you see that drill instructor slap the shit out of that recruit? And I'm like, maybe. And he goes, yeah, I think everybody's pissed off about that. And I'm like, oh God. So I called you and I'm like, we got to do this right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get
Well, I
busted
do remember
down to
that.
staff
I do
sergeant.
remember
I don't
that.
want to get busted down to sergeant. Yeah, buddy. Nothing came of it though. Thank God. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
No,
good time.
nothing ever came out of it.
Yeah.
I bet that kid had some discipline after that too.
I don't know. He probably never passed out again.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
All right, I'm sorry, Mike. We totally
Yeah,
it
hijacked.
seems like every time Mike talks about a subject, we go crazy here.
because he
I don't
shared
know.
good news. Good news.
Yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
know it's true.
It brought out funny stories and good stories. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drill instructor smacking his shit out of recruits. I mean, who doesn't want to hear that?
Always a
It's
good
like-
story.
Always a good time.
Yeah, I had
man.
one pass out story in a ceremony, but probably my most memorable was it was at First Marine Division, and I don't know, we got back in it must have been in 03. And it was a big, they were like, you donate blood, you got to donate blood. But I don't know if it was in 03 or 04 when you were with us, Andrew, but I know there was a period of time where we couldn't donate blood after we got back. And I don't remember what
I
it
think
may
that
have
was
not
after
even,
I got me.
It may have been in 02. It may have been before we went to Iraq. I don't remember now. But anyways, they were doing the blood, the blood draw. It was like where our warehouse was, where the supply warehouse was at the old building. There was another building back behind it. And like Red Cross was set up in there. And they're like, well, everybody goes there, gets a 72, and, which we never got.
Yeah.
But, they cut us out like noon that Friday, and they're like, who wants to donate? It's like, yeah, you're like Yaffa Jones. He refused to go over there because he was afraid of needles. But it's like, hey, all the staff NCOs are going to lead the way. We're going over there. And he's like, bullshit. It's like, hey, we're all going over there, guns. He's like,
He's like,
he finally, I want to say he went over, but I don't, I want to say he did. But anyways, we get in there, and of course, like, you know him. Espinoza was in there, and a whole bunch of them, and Wirtz and all them. And I'm sitting there, and I'd say nurse, but she wasn't a nurse, technician, phlebotomist, whatever. And she goes, well, let me see your arm. She goes, well, I don't even need to put a tourniquet on because you got good veins. And my wife says the same thing. I said, yeah. I said, I'm a pretty easy stick. She goes, are you afraid of needles? I'm like, no, I'll watch you do it. And I'm literally just sitting there watching her stick it in, and she tapes the thing down. And she's like, well, pump your arm, and I'm sitting there. And she went back out and walked out around, the little bed or the gurney or whatever. And then she comes back in, gosh, that's what she had to do. She had to tape it down. She didn't have tape. She goes, let me come back, tape it down. I said, all right. She goes, don't move. She comes back and she pulled her tape out. And when she did, she dropped it and it rolled. And she turned around. And when she did, she got her leg wrapped up in my IV cord. And she yanked it, pulled it, everything, and the catheter out of my arm was like blood squirted clear across the room. And Espinosa was standing over there, like in the doorway. He's like, Daddy, I never seen anybody turn white so fast in my life. You know, it was just like, I was done. The next thing I know, that poor girl, she's over there like smelling salts, beating on my chest, and ever started rubbing. I'm like, fuck, what are you doing? Like just out of nowhere. And she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You told me you didn't pass out. And I said, yeah, when you step on the damn IV. He goes, well, do you want me to stick it in? I'm like, no, we're done. No,
It's
no
over.
more. I know I got 2 arms, but you had one chance.
Oh my God, that's a good story right there.
I mean, there was blood probably shot 6 feet out the other direction. When it pulled out, it was just like everywhere. You know, it was like, good Lord. It was just, it's not so much it hurt. It was just this weird sensation, you know, and you sit there and watch something like that. It was like,
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. I love it. All right. Mike, you got any other good news for us?
no, if you're lucky you had that one. So,
All right. That sounds good. Is anybody want to talk about anything else before we go into our oh man, what is the last thing we do?
Where's wisdom?
Words of wisdom.
That's it. Words of wisdom.
How can
I've
you
been
forget?
drinking a little bit. I've been drinking, man. Sorry.
I was gonna. Never mind.
I'm a good host. Words of wisdom. Do you have anything else before we jump into words of wisdom? No? Everybody good? All right. Here we go. Words of wisdom. Let's start with Aaron this go round.
All right. Since we brought him up earlier, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. That was Walt Disney.
Interesting. Okay. See, the original,
Yeah.
not today's.
It's the same
Walt
thing
Disney.
as Walmart. It's the same thing as Walmart, man.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Walmart was a great store when Walton was still alive. Then
Yeah, you're right.
his heathen children.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's true. It's a good point, though.
Should have had my
Yeah.
public service
All right,
announcement.
Mike. Oh man, what do you got, Mike?
I just passed it.
I'm gonna scroll back. Hit escape. Control Alt Delete. That helps.
Well, I think it was something I already. Oh, here it is. Marriage is the only war in which you sleep with the enemy.
Ooh, dang. I mean, you're not wrong, you know.
Hey, we need to check on Mike tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, don't worry. My wife doesn't watch the podcast, so
Oh, okay, we're good. Don't worry about it.
I think she clicks download, but she doesn't watch it unless she does. I don't know if she does, and she hadn't heard anything else I said. But
Yeah, we're gonna have to check on him just to be safe.
He
tomorrow.
just hasn't
Make
talked
sure.
to you about it yet, and I'm
Yeah.
going to talk to you about this.
next year, I'll hear about it.
Yeah.
Remember that time on the podcast? You
Like a roller deck's in their head. Bing, remember that, fucker?
Very nice. All right, Vic. What you got?
Those who are determined to be offended will discover a provocation somewhere. We cannot possibly adjust enough to please the fanatics, and it is degrading to make the attempt.
Who's that?
Is that fairly recent?
It was Christopher Hitchens. That's who said that. Yep.
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
I don't know.
You don't know? Whoever it is, smart. I like it. And here we go. We missed him on the last show,
I think he needs to
but
give
he's
us two
here.
tonight.
Okay,
Can you give us two more?
I'm going to quote the great Mark Twain.
Okay.
Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Experiencing
Dang.
stupidity.
Yep.
Wow. Dang, Mark brings it. Every time. Every time. You got a Rolodex of
I got a million
words
of
of
them.
wisdom. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I finally
Uh,
found the one I was going to read, but I didn't. I don't think it'll beat March, but
I mean, you can try. I'm sure he's got three or four more.
I got to put one out there. It's it's not talking bad about your wife or anything. So that was just a joke.
Love you, honey.
Please don't hurt me later.
It says he who knows nothing but thinks he knows everything is clearly a politician.
Yeah. That's a true statement, though.
That's definitely
That is true. Who said that?
Are you looking for your wife, Vic, or you?
Yeah.
looking over his shoulder.
Like, who are you talking about?
I don't know anything.
Oh man. In the horror movies, whenever you're watching it and then the person is coming over their back, that's what was just happening there with Vic. We were watching as his wife was coming over his back. Good stuff. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining me again. Thanks for making it a great podcast. You guys
Oh, I
rock.
forgot. Hold on a second.
Okay, we're holding.
The cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the review. Actually, it's been a little bit of a tight draw, so it's I'm normally done with the cigars by the end of the podcast after about an hour or so, but this one's kind of a tight draw, so it's going kind of slow. I will say that it's a little bit spicy. It's got a little spicy and a little hint of like white pepper flavor to it. It was even more so at the beginning, real spicy and peppery at the beginning, and after like the first inch, it mellows out like most cigars do. But you still have that taste of a hint of white pepper in it. But
What is white pepper?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't know what white pepper is.
It's an ingredient that you can get in the grocery store, but it's not the sharp your table pepper that you have in the restaurant or you put on your food at the house. It's a little bit. It still has a pepper flavor to it, but it's a much more mellow flavor of pepper.
Okay.
But I was it's for a limited release. I give it a solid meh.
Yeah. A solid meh.
Meh.
I was going to attempt to make a joke, but I decided I'm not going to say it on the podcast. I'll wait.
But now you have to say it because
No, I'm afraid to, honestly.
Confident in my masculinity. What?
No, it had nothing to do with you. It had to do with how you were describing the cigar. No,
oh
no.
God.
You said it was a tight draw. You said it was a tight draw, so it was a slow burn. I said, I was thinking, well, usually when things are tight, it goes fast.
Yeah, not the case.
Oh, so cigars is opposite.
Not with white pepper. It's less spicy.
Yeah,
that's true. It's true. Very nice. All right, and with that, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need some help, anything like that, please remember that the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can also text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. The crew cares about you. Everybody cares about you. And if you're out there and you're not struggling, you're doing great, then make sure you reach out to your buddies that you served with. Ask them how they're doing. And if they need a helping hand, please reach out. With that, guys, thanks again. I truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.